it's Daybreak on Arise News, and it's time for the press preview. First look at what's on the front pages of the papers. We start with our sister publication. Maybe Nkechi, you should go ahead of me.
All right,
open it.
Let's take a look at this day this morning. Leading headline, 11 days to presidential poll, all eyes on you. Buhari charges Nigeria police. Meanwhile, INEC expresses concern about violent attacks on supporters of political parties, says election will not hold in 240 polling units. That's a lot of polling units. The INEC chairman says no voters indicated interest to transfer to those polling units, and also no new registrants during the last continuous voter registration exercise due to insecurity. More headlines here. Briefing the president on critical energy issues. That photo there's the CEO of Nigeria Upstream Regulatory Commission, Gbenga Komolafe, with President Buhari and the GCEO of NNPC, Melekere, yesterday. Sultan says we need to douse tension. People are hungry, angry. Explains why farmers' headers clashes persist in Benue. Meanwhile, IDP president reveals conflict claimed 4,000 lives in 7 years. Elections, Tinubu denies mopping up new Naira notes. That's on page 11 above the nameplate of This Day This Morning. Despite a Supreme Court's ex parte order, old Naira notes lose legitimacy. Court rejects old banknotes for filing cases.
Well, that's interesting. The courts are rejecting the notes.
No, you said the banks.
The bank. It says the court. They said the paper says the courts.
The paper says the courts or the banks.
Yeah, court reject
for
all
filing
banknotes
cases.
for filing
Courts
cases.
are rejecting
the courts
the old,
themselves are not accepting the old notes. Wow.
Oh! Just like the banks, because I'm going to read something on the banks rejecting old notes. Go ahead.
Yeah.
I think it's
this is the Punch newspaper. Naira deadline. Banks, fuel stations reject old notes. Ignore Supreme Court order. Well, President Buhari and Emefiele meet again as old Naira deposits hit more than 2 trillion Naira. And POS operators, depositors panic, flood banking halls with old currency. Buhari launches security equipment, warns police against politics. AK-47 bearing pastor arrested. Policeman faces probe as church apologizes. And North will benefit greatly from coal mining oil field. That's according to the APC candidate Tinubu. Share love on Vows Day, not HIV. That's from NACA. Atiku Rivers rally cancelled to prevent debts. That's according to the PDP. And Fani Kaire speaks after DSS grilling. He says, I regret raising coup alarm.
Right. Before I go to the Guardian, the banks rejecting old notes. I wonder what the two of you make of it, because even the central bank says until 17. So what's the basis for the banks rejecting old notes?
Yeah, that's a good question. After the states, the 3 states rushed to the court to have the court decide on this issue, there's this confusion about whether the court has jurisdiction over fiscal policies of the central bank or if it's the federal government. So if they're giving an order to the federal government, does it apply to the Central Bank of Nigeria? Well, the banks are claiming that they didn't receive any copies or orders or circular from the central bank asking them to accept those notes. But if we take our minds back, the earliest circular released by the Central Bank of Nigeria states that these will lose legal tender value by the 17th. And
yes.
So you can still pay them into the bank.
Exactly.
It's strange that the banks are not accepting it. Even the court is not accepting it. And just some filling stations. Well, I mean, we had to get over this because it's a lot of trouble for people.
I don't understand why banks. All right, the Guardian. Again, Buhari meets Emefiele, keeps mum on Naira swap. CBN, Emefiele, e-Naira, internal banking as alternatives to cash. That is, CBN embrace e-Naira, internet banking as alternative to cash. Apex Bank loses 15 billion to hoarding. Explains how to exchange old notes. I'm sure some Some will see it explains how to exchange old notes there. BDC's profit from Naira scarcity, lower exchange rate for cash transaction. Imazo worried about cash scarcity on traders in Abia. Commissioner says that's the governor of Abia State. Niger governor orders police to arrest anyone rejecting old notes. That's in Niger State.
All right, the Daily Sun this morning. INEC excludes 214 polling units from voting. Nigerians will now cast votes in 176,600 polling units. Voters to get SMS to know polling units. More on that on page 6. Another headline on the Daily Sun. IGP accuses Oduduwa Nation agitators and IPOB of election disruption plot.
That's interesting. Voters getting text to know you're polling.
I haven't received the text message.
Yeah,
Did you get one?
No, I haven't.
But I mean,
we're
I'm saying
expecting it.
Yeah, if it happens,
That's a
that'd
good
be
development,
fantastic,
and just easier for everyone to know where to head to during the election day, because movement that day will be restricted.
Okay, 25th of February, less than 2 weeks. Let's all get ready. For those who are eligible, go out there and vote. And the Tribune, Nigerian Tribune, why elections won't hold in 240 polling units. That's INEC speaking. In Cross River, Atiku says restructuring will ensure more accountability. I did not stockpile new Naira notes. That's APC's Tinubu speaking. Police detain Abuja pastor preaching with AK-47. And Lagos governor orders coroner's inquest into Christian student's death.
India, I'd like your thoughts on that story about the pastor, House on the Rock pastor, who was preaching on the, what do they call the church?
The
pulpit, yes, with an AK-47.
Well, what he simply was just trying to do was, just because it was a gun, he was just trying to dramatize.
Yeah, but why not just use like a fake gun?
Was it a real gun?
Yes, because he's been called by the police.
Apparently, he has a license to be holding it or something.
An AK-47?
I don't know, but how did he get it there?
If he does have a license, so what's the problem?
He doesn't have a license to hold an AK-47.
If he does have it.
Okay.
Oh, but anyway, I think the bottom line was that the church, even in Garden, it says, unloaded gun, church restates commitment to peace. All right. I mean, that's a very good. Of course, he will be questioned, and he has been questioned. We wait and see what.
He's detained.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, wait and see how.
Police has detained that pastor who was carrying an AK-47 on the altar.
Maybe he went a little bit too far.
He went not a little bit too far. He went definitely too far and does not have a license to carry an AK-47.
All right. The international newspaper is now independent. Hammer blow for Tories as former CBI chief declares Labour is party of business. Devastating verdict of Cameron's ex-skilled czar. Okay.
All right. That's it for us today. Up next, it's the morning show. It's a full day ahead, and every moment matters. I am Nkechi Nana.
I'm Kenneth Horme.
And I am Andy Amugo. Thanking you for watching. Goodbye.